Hi, I'm Coral and this is Coral Gardens. We're going to do a quick garden tour today, early June. It's hot already, not super hot, but we got beans, we got corn, we got tomatoes, we got melons coming up. So we'll take a look and see what we got going. Not super exciting yet, but we're getting there. Okay, so today we're going to do a garden tour and plant up a little bit of squash. It's 6:30 in the morning, so we don't have shadows, and it's a little nicer outside. It's been getting pretty warm. These are some onions, some of our last onions that we were growing. We got a lot and needed places to put them, so they're kind of everywhere, you'll notice. These have been beets that I've resown, I think 3 times, and we're getting immediately eaten, but now there's a few in here. We want another tree from my son's tribe, so there's a chance we might oust these beets since they're maybe likely to bolt in the heat here pretty soon, even though we have them in kind of a mostly shaded area. Here's our herbs. We got the parsley going to seed. We had some chives go to seed. The flowers are really pretty, and now there's probably some mature seeds in there, potentially. And then we have the rest of the green onions. I planted a bunch of cilantro and other herbs in here. Again, they got eaten right away. I have not seen any insects except for a few kind of cut armyworms that I think fell from the trees above us, and I've seen only a couple of those, so I don't know exactly what was eating them. These onions, we're kind of doing the best, but now we're kind of sagged over. I think everybody needs a little bit more sun than they get in this area, so I'm gonna try and have my son push at least the onions out soon. This was a little volunteer holy basil, and then we have a couple zinnias here. I'll probably move one of those extra zinnias. There's a little mint that we got that's already just blooming. It was tiny when we first put it in. These ended up, I planted other flowers, but only the zinnias seem to come up. There is I think celebrity. Yeah, celebrity tomato. Those did really good here last year. And a jalapeno that I bought because I wasn't sure how mine did. I just transplanted these tomatillos out, and it looks like they did better than I thought. I put them directly out in the sun after, which was a little bit sketchy. The rest of these are slicer and cherry tomatoes. There's an eggplant right here that's a little bit sunburnt. But some of them aren't doing super great in the cups, but that's okay. We have a lot. There's a few more peppers and tomatoes. And then I planted corn in these ones for the late start the corn's gonna get. In our Three Sisters waffle garden, we have squash and melons coming up in each of the corners. And we have the corn going pretty good. Oh, we planted a lot of moon and stars. I've seen 3 now, I think. You can tell those right off the bat because they have those little yellow specks on them, and so will the watermelon. These ones always make me think of pumpkins when they have a little bit of that white, but they're not always. But yeah, some of the corn's getting nice and big. Here's our peach tree one. It's a white peach tree. And then there's one of the biggest squashes. This bed has some amaranth that just volunteered in it, and I'm gonna let it grow. Can be a cousin to the Three Sisters because it grows really tall and can also probably hold up some beans. The wind gets really bad around here, so every once in a while we get random trash in our, especially because the beds are, dug in, so they get stuck in there. That little watermelon's looking good. This one seems to have a lot more corn. I wonder what's up with that corn. That's really interesting looking, the way it's kind of almost variegated. I thought it was sick, but it looks too patterny maybe. And there's another one that's got it. So maybe it's the type? I'm not sure. Hopefully it's not any kind of illness. I think that these ones we accidentally planted in the same corner because that one does not have one, and this one has a melon and a squash. So I'll probably replant the one on this side or try and dig up the melon maybe and move it over. Some of these have sunflowers. Put a bunch of sunflowers too as another cousin, and those are coming up. There's another moon and stars. And then some of them have purslane that I'm kind of just letting grow for ground cover this year. Another big squash. Oh yeah, there's more of that corn. Huh, but it is the littler one, so I guess there's a chance they're sick. There's the biggest moon and stars watermelon. These guys are all doing pretty good. And our last 2 beds are very newer dug and we had less compost for, so they're looking a little wimpier, although the squash looks good. And then there's our plum tree that we got from the last raffle at the spring gathering. See the butterfly? Oh, I think I just missed it mostly. Butterfly on these gorgeous hollyhocks. They have carpenter bees on them all the time. That was the first butterfly I've seen this year. Oh, it's coming back. Hi, butterfly. I think it's a monarch. Come back over and have some hollyhock, friend. Aw. I hope I'm not keeping it away. It's up in a tree up there. But the hollyhocks are all blooming. Keep a little dish of water for the bees and the critters there. These guys definitely seem to be the star this year. They're huge. Probably 9 feet tall or so. I tried to deadhead some of the blossoms. They look very similar though, so it's kind of confusing because this is a bloom that's about to come and they flatten out like this when they're seed heads. So I've just been tearing them off to hope to get a few more blooms out of these. And if I let them mature on the plant, I get a bunch of seeds, but I have plenty of time to do that too. So those are really pretty. I thought I didn't like the pink as much, but this year I'm loving the pink. These ones remind me of like a hibiscus or something. They're really pretty. And that one was tiny last year. It's doing pretty good this year. And then the white one I think looks really nice against the fence. We planted some lilacs out here that we got from the shearing stand in our area, but they look like they didn't make it. She said to keep them in really moist soil. We tried, but between the wind and the intense sun around here, it definitely dries out quickly. In this bed, we've planted all our summer squash. So each of those little darker areas, we dug and just compost into a deeper hole so it would hold water better. This bed is a little more amended than our other beds. We grew squash here the first year and it did really good, but we didn't have enough money to do a full like 2 to 3 inches of compost on the whole bed because that's a lot of compost. So we just dug it into the holes. We also planted marigolds here that I'm hoping come up. I'm thinking any day they should. Over here we have onions. Some of them didn't do super well, and we have peppers. These are the Chileno peppers that they use in the Sierra Nevada. One of them like fried and got lost all its leaves right away. This one doesn't look super great. I think there's a reason the onions died there, and it's because there's not enough water that stays in those areas. This one looks punier than our other ones too. I'm gonna water them really good this morning and hope they perk up a little. And then we have 1 or 2 little clump of beets right here that came up when I tried to fall or early spring plant them. And then we also have the same with radishes here. And this radish is kind of busted open, but I thought I'd let them go to seeds and or eat the Chileno peppers. And I think I kept reading very different things about what peppers these were. A lot of things say they're just Hungarian wax peppers, but I don't think they look that similar. And when we got these, they say Chileno, but they also say Italian wax peppers, so that might be why. But these ones are supposed to be specifically the ones they use for those Sierra Nevada, and those are so good. And we have some onions that are doing okay, hanging in there. But yeah, this bed definitely seems to be, I think it gets a little more shade than this one, and it holds on to water better. And then up here, we had a little one of those tomatoes that I started from seed in the ground, and it was doing really good, and then one day it just fried, and that was right there. This is one that came in from the store. It's a Kellogg's breakfast, and some of the leaves are already getting beat up. Again, it's really, really sunny here. We need to find ways to get them shade. There's a little volunteer sunflower. Last year we had tons of volunteer sunflowers over here, but we were also watering more regularly, and their tree wasn't so big. The trees are stumps, and then they just keep growing back from stumps. See some of those. We are thinking we might allow the upward growth because this garden needs some shade badly. This is a little squash or gourd that came up from last year, I think, and then there's a bunch of amaranth and a couple purslane down there. Over here's where we have the bulk of our peppers, and most of them are doing pretty good, but again, sunburn. I need to find a shade to put over these guys. So this is a shishito. I'm not sure what this is. This is when I started from seed and I didn't keep good track. Oh, that's just a little jumping spider. I was trying to see what kind of bug it was. And then our Chileno peppers look a lot better in there. We're just little and came from a 6-pack. We have some garlic back that way, but it's not doing very great either with the sun. This is a little bed we're gonna plant. We're just gonna throw a couple inches of compost in it and fill this trellis. This is a squash trellis. I try and rotate at least the trellises every year, and we get squash bugs pretty badly, so trying to fool them is probably a waste of time, but we'll try it anyway. There's some volunteer arugula going to seed. And this side I've already planted the vining squash, and it hasn't come up yet, but these were our last ones. Kim's with all this, we're all doing almost all waffle beds because we found that to be the best way to get water to where our plants need to be. Otherwise, it just kind of sheds it off and goes other places. But this way, it has to stay in the area that we've watered it. I mean, especially if we can get it even enough, it's like a pretty good way. And then it traps it and kind of gets it to where it needs to be the most. Here's a little volunteer amaranth in this big pile of dirt. So Kim, when he dug out some of these of that dirt pile up, he's gonna do 2 more of this size corn bed. This is the sweet corn beds. And those are just starting to come up because we got those done a little later. And in the corners, I've done cucumbers and melons, I think, just as kind of a, there's one that's up. To see, I don't have a lot of room for them to ramble on this side, so there'll be a little bit of ground cover. Here's our onions, and in our onions, the aquifers that we've, is that what they're called? I think so. That we've dug per the instructions by Dixondale Farm. They said to put fertilizer in the middle and then aquifer on each side. And initially these were kind of struggling to get enough water, but I think it kind of trained them to dig deeper with their roots, which is always a good thing. But in here we have a whole bunch of purslane, a couple amaranth. And on the other side, we have a whole bunch of arugula, because this big, huge arugula bush, I don't think that's ever been said before, but planted this pretty thickly with arugula and let it go to seed and flower and seeds last year. And now it is just wild and has gone all over. So I'm trying to make arugula the most prominent weed in my garden because I would love to just let it grow wherever it wants to. I love arugula, and it's better than the stinky weeds we have otherwise. But there's another big amaranth there that we're gonna let grow. I planted okra down the middle of this, but I have not seen them come up. I've struggled to get okra to come up from seed. In the back of that, I don't even know if you can see it, there's some spinach that went to seed too that I'll collect seed from, but it came up. If we don't have a long spring here, it goes right into summer very quickly, so we might not be able to grow some of those winter veg. These here are melons. So there's like Kajari, Charantius, I think, and I think I put my Armenian yard-long cucumber in one of these too. Melons that are smaller that are going to be okay on the trellis is kind of what we went for. Looks like one of these didn't come up, so I'll have to either move one of these over or get a replacement, grow a replacement for it, or just reseed it. Here we have our beans, and this little bean is by far the longest, but he hasn't decided where to hang on to yet. And with them in the tender new stuff, we seem to get aphids occasionally. Oh, there's that. More beans there. And a bunch of beans over here. This right here here is red Malabar spinach, which is like a, not a real spinach, but a pretend one. Oh, I think that might be a marigold. But it grows well in high heat. So if these green beans don't work out, at least we'll have a few things growing there. Because green beans don't like the heat much at all. Yeah, and I guess that's it. Start of our garden this year. Not too much to see yet, but it's definitely coming along and making me excited. Hope yours is too. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We got just the earliest stuff going on. We still have a little bit more to do, but we're getting there. And I think some of the stuff's gonna be right on time. So hope your garden's going great, and we'll see you next time.
Like and subscribe.
Stupid. I hate it all. Okay. Hopefully one of those is semi-usable.